How is everybody doing? Welcome. So excited to be with you guys tonight. I know I've mentioned this before, but this really is one of my favorite events just because it's just so much fun to play with. And I hope that this event inspires you guys to play, to create, of course, with the designer templates. And so, welcome. We're going to do just that. How is everybody? Okay, I'm giving everyone a chance to jump on and let me know if in the comments. I think I see everyone. Awesome. Hello, Trisha. How are you? Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, looks like a few more are joining. Awesome. Okay. How is everyone? Everyone ready for Christmas? Hopefully. I have some Madison's coming home on Thursday, so that's exciting. Trying to finish a lot of things with work, of course, before then, but I look forward to a few days off. It'll be fun. And maybe even a little bit of scrapbooking time in there. We'll see. We'll see. Life seems to slow down just a little bit, or at least that's how I like my holidays to be. Simple. I like them simple, but fun and memorable. So that's what I am hoping for. Well, you guys, this is the Play to Create Spotlight. And so what I'm going to do, if you have not joined me in one of these events, what I like to do is I like to take the featured sets for the given month. So for December, our featured sets, we are spotlighting Everyday Adventures and the photo sets. So photos, mini photos, and photo mats. That is great for those of you that are club members. That's kind of one of the prompts that we give you guys to use those to with the Kiwi Club kit, whether you get the Premier with the paper and the templates, or you get just the templates. And those are our suggestions on what we think are really great and play friendly, and it will be help to make some of those decision makings are really fun. I know for me, it really is beneficial to kind of follow those prompts. Or even, like I said, in a given month, you could be like, I'm just going to use that featured set or those combinations of featured sets suggested and see what I can create with those. And it really helps zone in on maybe some options instead of, so many choices and trying to figure out what to create with at a given time. So I have seen a lot of productivity in my own scrapbooking experience through utilizing the featured sets prompts. My phone is kind of, sorry, let me fix that, adjusting it there. And then, of course, it's just also a great way to kind of follow along in the community, whether you're doing the sketch challenge or other projects that you might be working on, seeing what inspires you with these given sets and add them to your collection. That slowly over time, it's a great way to add to your collection. So you also can use those prompts as kind of that reminder or suggestion, so to speak, as if we were shopping together. I'd be like, yeah, get that one. That's a really good one. Usually if we feature them and what we feature to them together are really great. So when we get to the photo sets, it's really interesting because like photo sets, why are they a featured set? Like they're kind of a basic, right? But boy, there's so much inspiration to be had with just the photo sets. And then of course with this Everyday Adventures, just utilizing it alone. Of course, mixing, matching it with some other sets, and we can go over that. And if anyone has any suggestions, I've not really done this before, but if you have been wanting to see maybe like what's Everyday Adventures would look like with adventure, like I could pull those out and we can just come to see what we can come up together as we play to create. And that's really what we're going to do is we're going to go over the benefit of the designer templates as that visual tool, as that playing guide. I just realized my light is awful. I need to work on that in this room. And that ring light, you see that here in this template, it's like completely reflecting. Okay, I'll look into that for next time. Not exactly what I would say, what I would want. So I apologize for that. But yes, so much fun. So for me also, I usually, if you're a Kiwi Club member, I usually put, I just put this in here for now until I have time. With the featured set. So if this is the Kiwi Club that came out for the month, I like to put those with this. Now it did have a bigger one which I ended up putting just with my other big sets in my envelopes here. Where did I put that guy? In these ones that I have my bigger designer templates in. I just realized, and I know I keep showing this in the lives, but these are little tabs, but it's like prototype. I'm using my own stash as prototypes. I'm working on some ideas, but these ones are, yeah. So I keep showing those tabs, and every time I do, somebody's always like, what's the tab? What is that? I promise I'm working on something in the background. I gotta stop using it to show it because it's a prototype. It's a dummy right now. It's not by all means done, but there are some things that I'm working on as far as the organization goes. So hopefully 2024 is the year for that. Little teaser there, I guess. Yes. All right. I could see all your guys' comments. And then Kristen, right when I saw it, hi Susan, what is the tab on this? Just sleep. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So let's play. Let's play. You guys, there's so many benefits to allowing yourself to play. And one of them is, of course, you just knock out any kind of fear. If you're one that is intimidated by maybe cutting into paper, or intimidated by maybe not sure how to fit your photos onto your page, that really is where the designer templates in this first phase of that designing. So just using them as that designing tool and then using them as the template really comes into play. Now, I will say, sometimes I sit down to scrapbook and there are times where you could feel it, right? Like as creators, we could feel like, okay, there's three modes I'll try to articulate here. One is where I'm like, you know what, I need a little bit more focus. So like I'll focus in on like a certain accessory and maybe start there. And then there's sometimes I just allow myself to build the whole page. And I'll be honest, a lot of times I just go straight for that, where I'll just build out the page, the frame with the photos. I know a lot of times people in the community are like, oh, I just kind of like piece mine together. Well, I would encourage you to try actually laying out a whole frame. If you can, as far as that goes. One, you'll notice that it will speed up the design process overall and your overall time of creating that page. And because when you play, it allows you to kind of get out of your head, meaning you can start seeing things instead of trying to guesswork. And so when you're allowing yourself to kind of play with those designs and see, you know, just whatever that is that you're creating come together, you can really start getting out of your head. And when you feel yourself getting into your head, then you just need to remind yourself again, hey, I'm just playing here. This is like nothing's permanent. I'm just having fun. And so often, you know how you guys have ever rearranged a room or something in your home? I like to rearrange if I have rooms often, maybe like every 6 months or something, if I can. Anyways, and sometimes I'll try to do that in my head, like, oh, what if I put the couch over here or put it over here? We actually, in our house now, whenever we hear people say that, like, well, what if we did this? And we'll start saying, what if, right? And then we'll say, well, let's just play. Let's just play and see. And so we'll just go through the efforts of moving the thing over there and seeing it and just kind of allowing the movement of the pieces, which is creativity, right? It's taking a bunch of different elements and rearranging them in a new fashion or just creating with them. And that's really how you strengthen that creative muscle. So I guess what I'm saying is that what if I had this, or like, and you're trying to do it in your head, just try to do it with the templates visually. Just literally pick them up and place them where you want them to be, right? So hopefully those little bit of thoughts inspire you and of course encourage you to continue to play and to experiment with that. So I'm going to pull out my photo sets really quickly here, because usually when I do get to this point of building out, I don't know, I thought this was kind of fun. Of course, naturally, I love that large tag. It's just screens to be tucked, and then just a few elements clustered around it. That seems fun, and it's just so easy with the scrapbooking template kits, whether it's the everyday adventures or nature walk or the playtime. Like, we really created these 3 sets to be that easy source that you can create a few layouts, not complicated, like you just with the elements, and confidently know that we designed these with layering in the kit alone in mind. And so we really played around with these sizings and different things to make sure that that was a combination that we feel like would work. Okay, so photos. I like to throw my photos in. Again, there really is no mix. I know in the past, often just for the sake of like having a structure, we're like, oh, place the borders and then accessories and then your photos. For me, it's really the placing it on your playground, so to speak. I'll say our backgrounds are our playground. And just letting them run around with each other, just letting them be free, just letting them have fun. If they want to run and decide where they go, then great. So again, the structure is nice. I'll be honest. I do send, like, again, when I sit down to scrapbook, that structure gets me going. It gets the wheels spinning. And of course, then at that point, I'm able to get into flow states and really just enjoy that free time, that precious free time that I'm able to scrapbook, which I know is rare for most of us. And so being able to have a system or a method that you can kind of follow along to kickstart you into creating is super beneficial. So again, we're gonna call it our playground, okay, guys? And we're gonna just allow things to play and flow on our page. And again, if something's quite not like, it's like catching your attention, then just try something. So I'm going to backtrack here because I didn't really articulate what was happening in my mind here. But I saw this spacing, how I had the border here and the photos here, and it just felt photo heavy right here. So I thought, oh, how can I break, like this was photo heavy. And then my mind started to ask the question, like, well, how can I break that up? And I thought, well, what if I put the border in between and then shifted this to the left? So it was very much the what if right? And then I just allow myself to follow that wherever that might be. So some of us might be more visual than other people. Sorry, my phone is really wanting to continue to drop down. I think I need a new stand for 2024. It's not tightened, it's not staying tight. So I'm sorry, it just kind of keeps going like this, falling asleep on you guys. But anyways, where was I saying? I was simply saying that, oh yeah, some of us are more visual than others, you know. So again, I think when we tend to try to like try to do it all in our head, it does get overwhelming. So I would say I am a little bit more visual, but yet like I know how that feels when I start trying to like put the pieces together in my head before I just allow myself to tangibly play with it. And there's so much benefit to allowing tangible play, because of course then you're engaging your senses in different ways. So that's really fun. Like I think that could be a really fun page. And then of course adding your pictures and other elements. This is probably, you know, probably needs to be tucked there. You don't want that. I wouldn't want that covering my photo. And even here, I would open up another spot. Let me pull in the mini photos to do that. Okay, I'm just going to ask this question. It might be a silly question, but how many of you guys own the photo sets? How many of you guys have still tried to do it in your head because you were conditioned that way? I started scrapbooking where you did it in your head, or you try to do it with your pictures, or you know, crop down your pictures and then we're like, oh, son of a gun, I just cropped it too much, because you didn't really have a game plan put together yet. If you own the photos and you haven't pulled them out, I encourage you to do that, because it really does give you that full page design. And also it allows you to, again, not cut into your pictures yet, which honestly, you know, every picture you have to reprint, or like some pictures you can't reprint. So really those pictures are a great time saver, but they're also will save you money because you don't want to reprint pictures if you don't need to, or have the fear of cutting into a picture. So that game plan from the full layout concept is really super nice. Like, I really enjoy the photo sets. I believe we shared this before, but when we first came up with this method, right? And, you know, I know a lot of you guys might be familiar with our origin story, but me, Debbie, and Shiloh, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and myself, we designed this method, but we really designed it out of our own needs for multiple reasons. One, we were so frustrated staring at an empty page when we sat down to scrapbook, only to find hours like disappearing in the mix of any free time that we ever have, right? As busy life and moms and all the other reasons why life keeps us busy. The other thing was we were really tired of looking for ideas, and most of the ideas were centered around one picture, and we're like, we scrapbook more than one picture. Is there like beautiful layout ideas for more than one picture? And yes, there is, but it just feels like it was heavy, of course, on the one picture, and still is, I would say, from an industry point of view. And then also, we just were overwhelmed. Like, we were just wanted to use our paper stash, and we were overwhelmed with ways to incorporate that. And so here comes the Play to Create method, right? And then what we realized is that other scrapbookers had similar frustrations as we did. And so, of course, we naturally wanted to share it with them. And naturally, people started asking us questions like, how are you creating that layout? And so we started to share it. But what I was going to tell you guys is that we were using the photo sets, our own versions of these photo sets, to help us to basically pump out our layouts that we were posting and sharing and just different things. And we were we didn't really share the photo sets initially, and we were like, it's crazy, scrapbookers are gonna think we're crazy, like these squared things, right? And so and then of course they became one of those steady bestsellers, and they still are that steady bestseller because of the nature of them and how they do help you to finish your, like, give you a complete layout feel. But also for all of the other reasons I shared, helping you to build that game plan from start to finish, helping you to crop a picture. I didn't bring a picture out. Let me see, do I have a picture? Oh, here, let me grab one really fast. And then also just allowing you to play around with arrangements, which is basically like creating your own sketch. I mean, what we just did right now is we allowed ourselves this thing. I'm so sorry, guys. It just keeps sliding down. Hold on. Let me see if I can tighten this. Okay. We'll keep it there for a moment. But it's like basically creating your own sketch. I mean, sketches are great, don't get me wrong. On the back of the packaging, we have sketches, of course. Utilize them. Let that be that springboard, because any ideas we can share with each other are super beneficial, and we love seeing all the ideas and being inspired by you guys and vice versa. Anyways, but it's like creating a sketch, right? So again, with the photos, you can use them as the designing tool. You can also use them as that cropping tool. So it'll help you to figure out if you want this best as a horizontal or vertical and so forth. And I won't go too heavily into that. A lot of times we do that within like our PJ Playdate or other events where we actually walk through a full layout from start to finish, tracing, cutting, inking, and so forth. There are some other tips, but in today's event, I wanted to just go over the play factor, okay? Chris says, I love the photo sets. I use them every single layout. Yes. Melissa, I love the photo sets. Trisha, I have all the photo sets. Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully if you haven't pulled them out, then you're inspired to try it out. I will say it is, like I said, a little bit of a muscle, especially if you're conditioned and have been scrapbooking for a while and you're still leaning towards like the previous way that you've been conditioned with the photos, like I said, trying to like picture it with your photos and all of them being 4x6 or smaller, or you're trying to like sort them out and print them out before you do it. I print a lot of my pictures in this size. I do think that it is a matter of being mindful when you take pictures to make sure you're taking pictures horizontal and vertical and they're not all close up. And so for me, I think it's just easier to print 4x6s and crop them down than trying to do all the prep work and printing different sizes or different things. Unless I know from a sketch that I want to kind of follow that springboard, then if it has smaller pictures, I'll use my Canon printer to print maybe some 3x4s or something just to save printer paper. But those are kind of my 2 cents on that. Like I just experienced that in many different ways that I don't use like Photoshop or anything like that for my photos. I simply either print them at home or print them like Costco or somewhere else. And I usually go for 4x6s for the most part. And then I use my photo sets to help me with the arrangement of it. But I do make sure when I'm taking pictures that I am not taking them so close that they don't allow for cropping. If my design calls for it once I get started in the designing. All right, so I threw in a 3x3. I do want to spotlight this other one just simply because it is a featured set. Like we could even come over here and use those, the photos and the mini photos. Again, mini photos are great for just adding an assortment of other photos, more photos, because of course the smaller you go, you can cluster those on. So I feel like there's still enough white space. I mean, if that's too plastered for you, then don't of course do that. That's just one option. We're playing here so we can play around with other options. We could do a little cute close-up or something there. That could be cute. And then, or a little close-up here. So really those small ones allow you to kind of play around with placements of those. And a lot of times too, if I want a placeholder for a title, and I want it to be like a little title card or something, sometimes I'll just make that mental note by taking a pencil and writing literally on my template. I'll erase it or something, but I'll be like, this is where I want my title. So again, that placeholder, I'll use sometimes my photos for things like that, or journaling boxes are another alternative that maybe the photos can help you build in that placeholder for it. Okay. Lisa says, I have 2 of each set. Years ago, someone suggested it, and it's been fun being able to see how many pics I can get on a page. Yes, Liz, Lisa, I agree. I didn't show it all, but this is like, I have, yeah, 2 of each. And so it actually makes it hard sometimes when I demo because I have to like resort them back out. And I'm like, son of a gun. So, but I do, they're pretty fat because I have 2 of each. All right, now, photo mats. I just love the playing with that in the design. So for me, photo mats, if I'm matting all my pictures, then I'll just make that decision based off of if my pictures aren't bouncing, like if they're not standing off of my background. And I can usually see that when I like actually crop down my pictures and add them to my thing. I'll be like, oh, they're not standing out. Like the background's maybe not contrast enough towards my pictures and I want them to stand out a little more. That's usually a given for me. I'll go to matting my pictures, whether that's with just a basic white matting frame to keep it fresh, but keep it like fresh, but also airy, right? Or any other type of color that might come up in the design choices that I make after creating my page. For me, photos, mats are very much, and I would love to hear in the comments how you guys find yourself, but I will just tell you from my personal experience, my go-to for photo mats is very much if I have a style where I don't want to mat all my pictures. And so it allows me to be selective. I'm going to clean this up a little. We're going to create a little bit more on another thing. Let's just see what other designs we can come up with. So for example, one of my favorites is like, I'll mat a middle. If I have a row of pictures, I'll just mat the center one, but not the other ones. And it just kind of gives it a elevated focus for that one picture. And so that often helps me get that visual effect if I'm doing something like that. And I can kind of see that design. Maybe, yeah, I'll do that arrow that direction. if I wanted it to go off the page, I actually would take it off my page like this and just know when I go trace it out, I probably just line that up. I'm just sharing that because a lot of times I will allow templates bleed off my page, knowing that when I trace it out, I'm literally planning on that being a straight edge. So I just wanted to point that out because sometimes that's nice to consider when you're creating. It's good to intentionally, if you want, lift it up, extend it, stretch it, whatever you want to do. And then just know that when you do that, you can alter it that way. That's cute. I was just thinking that could be fun with a star there or something like that. Okay, so photo mats, I mean, like I said, selective, choosing just a few here and there to be selective, I think is really great. If you like to mat all your pictures, then you're probably going to mat them all anyways, right? But other than that, like, it also could be fun to do multiple on a photo mat. This is probably my next go-to from a designing perspective, is I will choose to maybe do that with 2 photos. So for example, I'll take the 6.5 by 4.5 and I'll say, okay, well, let me do maybe 2 there. Well, what if it would look like if we did 1 there? And it kind of builds this, again, mat for those collection of pictures to be maybe as a focal point on your page. So that could always be a fun thing too. I mean, I would have to play with it, but I do often do 3x3s on one. Like I'll do something like that and then play around with that. Or let's just see. I saw this oval and thought, well, you could do a shape. Just depends on what kind of page you're doing. I don't like that. I don't like that. Let's see. Let's do a spacing here. A little tuck in. I like to layer and mix and match. Keep that in mind. Layering, mix and matching are definitely something that I'm not afraid for my templates to touch each other. And that, because of that, I do prefer like a nice layering or a cluster to kind of bring it together and then leave the rest of the page open-ended with what you would refer to as like white space, right? That's really cute. I love that coming out of that. I don't know. I just like that I like that layering there. That's really fun. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I went a little bit long than I normally do. I've already kept you for 20-ish minutes because you can see that it's just kind of addicting, to tell you the truth, when you start to play, which is why my next most important tip is set a timer. I can't say it enough. Set a timer, set a timer, set a timer. If you are one that just runs wild with all of the ideas, you almost allow that to get you overwhelmed, then I would challenge you to set a timer. Put your timer on your phone for 15 minutes, and then if needed, stand up at your table. Get the energy flowing. Get your body engaged with what you're trying to do. It will ignite your creativity because you have it inside of you, I promise. Some of us all just need little building blocks and tools and inspiration, and we all need it, every single one of us. Even the finest of artists need a sense of inspiration. And so allowing those designer templates to be that inspiration literally at your fingertips is super beneficial to kind of ignite that creativity and that kickstart it, so to speak. So set in a timer, and when that timer goes off, you can just kind of settle on one of those designs. Again, if you need to use sketchbooks, we have an amazing sketchbook idea book. I use the sketchbooks. I use the idea book sometimes. I allow myself to play, and sometimes I'll use the sketch just to allow myself to start laying out the templates similar to what I see. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I got things flowing. I'm allowing myself to kind of flow with the creation process here. So yes, absolutely. If you find yourself ever kind of getting stuck, say, hold on, Susan said set a timer. I'm way overthinking this. And then just go for, when that timer goes off, go for that design, because whatever you don't create this time, there'll be another design. There'll be another page and another layout that you'll want to sit down and create. And of course, that's the beautiful thing too about the designer templates. You can use them over and over and over again. There's so many different combinations when you layer them together, when you mix and match them together, and when you just allow yourself to play. So there is my little thought for today. And I can't wait to see the next thing you create. Of course, make sure to share it with us in the community. It literally is one of my best highlights of my day, is just seeing your guys' creation, celebrating that with you, that finished page. And also just celebrating your life memories that you're scrapbooking and you get to relive. I mean, scrapbooking is so great, right? It allows us to basically, as I say, like relive life twice. And I love that. And then also just, be inspired by your designs. And so make sure to share it with us in the community. And until next time, keep playing to create. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate, let us know. I don't see any more here in the comments. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. If you don't have Everyday Adventures, make sure to check it out in the shop. It really is a great one. I mean, I love all the scrapbooking template kits. I was even shocked when I first started to play with them. I felt at ease when I scrapbooked with the designer templates in general, right? When I followed the Play to Create method. But boy, do I really feel at ease sometimes when I just really need an easy, simple, like I don't know, just a nice, simple evening. If I'm like, I just want to scrapbook, but I don't want it to be overcomplicated. And, I love simple and cute. So that's great. But when I really need to like level down even the simple, like to the easily, like I just grab one of those scrapbooking template kits. It's just like so refreshing. It's so great. And usually in those evenings are ones that I just take one of the scrapbooking template kits, my pictures, literally what you see here in some paper, and I just kind of limit my focus to those few designer templates, and I'll go pop a table up in the living room, because I know that just with the one template kit, I will be able to create a few pages, and I just focus on that, and it's just a breath of fresh air. I love it. So make sure to check it out. If you guys don't have it in your collection yet, I promise it's worth one getting. And again, we will see you in the community. If I don't see you or talk to you before then, Merry Christmas, everyone. And I'm sure I'll talk to you after Christmas, before the New Year. So, all right, take care. Good night, everyone.